Hello and welcome to the Bajirao IAS Academy. Today is 26th of October and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. Before starting our discussion, if you haven't subscribed our channel, then please subscribe, like, share so that any notifications and updates regarding our videos and other discussions should be delivered to you immediately. Okay, and also join our Telegram channel. The Telegram channel link has been provided in the description box, and here you can get the PDF. And make sure that we are providing the PDF in a short, crispy manner, and by this PDF you can revise in a more easily way. Okay, that's why I try to provide you the images and other details, background details that will be very important for the prelims as well as for the mains. So definitely do subscribe our Telegram channel. Okay, so now today we have about 6 articles in discussion. Okay, and first 2 articles related to the editorial section and other 4 articles that will be dealt with the news. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. But as you all know, before starting our discussion, we have a warm-up session by asking you the prelims and specifically mains related question. Okay, so today I am not including the mains question, but you have to attempt the prelims question. So the prelims question is, with reference to the water on the planet Earth, consider the following statements. Statement 1: the amount of water in the rivers and the lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. The second statement: the amount of water in the polar ice caps and glaciers is more than the amount of groundwater. And basically, you have to choose the correct answer, whether it is option 1 only, or the 2 only, or 1 and 2, or neither 1 and 2. And remember, this type of question UPSC frequently ask, and I can remember that these type of questions basically asked more than 2 times. Okay, so try to understand these questions, try to understand the distribution of fresh water. Okay, and this will also help you in remembering the facts related to the water resources, and that will be utilized for your mains section. So that is also very important. Tell me about the distribution of fresh water with respect to the total water resources present on the earth in the percentage. Okay, so that will help you to recall the data, and that is very important for the mains as well. Water resource is very important topic. Try to understand that, and that's why you can analyze from the previous year paper about the importance of these topics. Okay, so any articles which gets reflected in the editorial regarding these type of topics, we try to discuss that. Okay, so that your any issues related to these topics will be cleared in a good way, from basics to advanced to the analytical approach. Okay, so let's start our editorial discussion. The first article will be related to the topic of urbanization, and here it will be covered under GS paper 1. And remember, this is a direct topic of the syllabus. You can visit the syllabus of the UPSC and you can see that in the GS paper 1 we have the urbanization, their problems and their remedies. Okay, so before starting, let's ask you a question and please try to give the answer. Okay, when we talk about urbanization in India, about 675 million people will be residing in urban India by 2035. And you have to tell me, according to the census 2011, what is the urbanization rate of India, first of all, and what is the number of urban people living in India, number 2. Okay, and what is the rate of urban growth with respect to the 2001 census. So try to answer all of these questions. Now, we have told you about the population. Now tell me whether the urban cities that we see in our states, okay, they are performing well or good, or they are facing various challenges. Well, you can think in that manner. And the answer will be mostly that there are numerous challenges in our urban cities. So what are these urban challenges, and what do you think about these challenges? Try to observe all of these, because this will help you to get understand the concepts, okay, the problems. And if you are able to understand the problem, definitely you will find the solution as well. The solution will be like innovative. So try to understand the problem. So what problems do you observe in the city? And here you can comment in the comment box as well. And for understanding the problem, it is better thing you to observe. You may have visited various cities, or you may be living in the city. Try to observe the problems which I am listing down, okay, and then try to answer in yes or no whether you face these type of problems in the urban cities or not, okay. So basically you can see that there is world's highest level of air and noise pollution. Do you see in the city? Is there a limited greenery in our urban centers? Is there is lack of access to sidewalks and parks that limit the active lifestyles? Okay, like lack of parks or very short area of the park size, this type of issue, okay. And then we have the exposure to dense unhealthy foods like the fast food. We have discussed the fast food culture as well, okay, that are penetrating in the urban cities and the semi urban cities and in the village area as well, okay. And then we have the archaic modes of transport. We have like too much cars, that's why having too much traffic, okay, and that leads to congestion, and that ultimately cause also pollution, heat, and that contributes in the global warming as well. So these are the problems, whether you face or not, tell me in the comment box yes or not, okay. So basically we have discussed the problems. Now try to understand the linkages with its impact. So you have understood the problem. Now if we try to say that whether these problems do cause problems or not, yes, in what type it impacts you, in terms of health, in terms of productivity, okay, in terms of the effectiveness, in terms of the economy, okay, in terms of our climatic targets that we announce in various conference of the parties of the UNFCCC, okay. But here we will try to understand the linkages of the problem with the health impact. So first of all, you know that all these problems may cause the cardiometabolic disease. For example, you are eating unhealthy food, okay, the fast food. So definitely these are going to affect your nutrition. And if there is sedentary lifestyle of yourself, that means it will cause double burden. First burden will be due to the consumption of unhealthy food or the pollution, okay, these are all the problems that we have discussed before. And the second, from your side, if your lifestyle is sedentary, so that will be combined to give rise to the health epidemic, okay. So what are the solutions basically? So first of all, we need to have a transformation of the design of the local environment of the urban infrastructure, okay, so that we can able to adjust, we can able to find the solution of the challenge. And second, we need to have a reforms in the provisioning systems. Here you have to understand about the provisioning systems, okay. Like in the environment and ecology, you may have heard about the ecosystem services or the provisioning services. So basically provisioning services are the services that are provided by the ecosystem. And what are the services provided by the ecosystem? Basically we have the air, okay, we have the food, we have the water, okay, and there are many more services that are very very valuable to the health of the people or the health of the humans, okay, that caters the existence of the human basically. So in the urban cities, these provisioning services are not performing better, they are basically becoming dysfunctional. And because of that we are seeing the high rise of pollution, high rise of groundwater exploitation, and from these there are many diseases that are arising out. Okay, so basically you can see that global level there are 7 key physical provisioning systems that provide food, that provide energy, that provide mobility, that is transportation, along with housing, green infrastructure, water, and waste management. So these are basically provisioning services is very important that lie at the core of the human health. Okay, if these services are well performing, that means the human health will be in a good shape. So you can judge that whether these services are working in a better way in the urban city or not. You can analyze and you can also comment in the comment section. Okay, but you can understand that at the current level we are having a dysfunctional provisioning system, and it can be reflected from the data that more than 90% of the world's water and global CO2 emissions are happening, and ultimately it is leading to 19 million premature death. Okay, so there is a huge problem. So that's why we cannot short it out from the traditional method. So we need a new narrative for improving health as well as well-being in the cities. And what should be the new narrative? We are basically trying to provide solution. So first of all, we have did series of reforms so that it can reduce the air pollution, noise pollution, and ultimately can cater the better health. Okay, and for that we are promoting clean energy and electric mobility in India. So what will happen from clean energy and electric mobility? First of all, pollution will be reduced, and that will help in achieving our climatic goals or the targets that we are aimed for. Okay, tell me the Panch Mitra targets that India has basically set up. Okay, that will be also for your mains as well, and you can quote in different answer writing as well related to the article or the questions of the climate change. Okay, so that is the point. And simultaneously we need to have incorporate changes in other provisioning systems, like we are promoting clean energy, electric mobility, that's good, but that will not suffice to cater our health crisis. And to suffice to supplement, we need to have a changes, we need to have a reforms in other provisioning system, like the food culture we are seeing in the urban cities, they need transformation. Like the mobility, in terms of mobility, what I am trying to tell you, that despite we have the road, okay, and despite we have the pathway which are made for the people walking on the road, but here on the side pathway, on the side track, you can see that the vendors, okay, they basically extend their shop, and they basically jams the a street pathway. Okay, so that basically blocks the people to move or to walk in a easy manner. So that prevents the person in the urban cities from walking or bicycling. Okay, and that leads what? That leads basically sedentary lifestyle and less active transportation or less active mobility. So it do have an impact on the people's health directly or indirectly. Okay, so we need to have a safe walking and biking lanes. There should be a pavements as well as no car zones where there should be no car running. Okay, and it will help in improving physical activity because people will walk more and more. Okay, people will get engaged in more physical activity, and it will reduce sedentary lifestyle as well, and ultimately it will have an overall health benefit. Okay, and it should be combined with regular physical exercise. Okay, and here when we talk about regular physical exercise, there is a need to have a balanced poor diet. Okay, balanced poor diet in the sense, like if you are eating fast food, okay, but if you are not doing any physical exercise, you are basically having sedentary lifestyle. That means these fast food which provides you more calorie will be get absorbed in your body, and that will cause increase in fat, increase in cholesterol, and that can cause the problem of diabetes, that can cause the problem of heart disease. Okay, so that are interrelated, and you need to understand that. So that is the point. So there are also issues related to the sidewalk, people want to walk alongside the road, and there is a pathway created, but there are issues. We have told you the issues. Okay, shop gets extended here, people parks the vehicle here, okay, people parks other items here, and that causes the blockade of the sidewalk, and people are not able to walk in a correct way, and that's why there are other problems that gets arise. So we need to increase the mobility, we need to increase active participation, and for that, improving the sidewalk, dedicated side lane for the people. Okay, there is a need to do that, and it will ensure the economic and health benefits as well. Okay, because when people will walk more and more, that means they will use less car or the motorbikes. Okay, that means less pollution, and that means a low sedentary lifestyle that will ultimately culminated into better health. Okay, so what is the conclusion here, what we need to do? So first of all, we need active transportation, and in active transportation, basically, people do walking, people do bicycling, okay, people do physical exercises. These all comes under active transportation, and it is a critical component of a clean energy policy. And also we need to move towards holistic urban policy, and when we talk about holistic urban policy, it does not only cater to the climate change. Okay, it does not only cater to dealing with the air pollution, but it also cater to the need of the health, to improve the health. And for that, there should be a awareness among the people that we should increase our physical activity, we should minimize our sedentary lifestyle, and for that, government's initiative also need to be promoted. Okay, and you can see that clean energy transition. What do you mean by clean energy transition? It is basically from fossil fuel energy, okay, to the clean energy, renewables or the hydrogen based energy. All of that comes under clean energy transition. Okay, so in the transportation sector, we are doing, like you can see, the hydrogen based bus, okay, electric bus you are seeing. In the coming times, there will be expansion of these items in different cities as well. Okay, and what is the aim? To reduce air pollution. Okay, so also we need to encourage the nutritional diet, we have to reduce the culture of fast food. Okay, and we have to promote the nutritional diet. For that, the healthy fruits and vegetables need to be consumed. Okay, so that is the point. So what is the conclusion? That don't let the health issue in urban area as an afterthought. We consider health issue as an afterthought, uh, uh, before solving health crisis, we create the health problems. Okay, so that should not be the approach, that should not be an afterthought. Okay, that should be the first thought to deal with these health crises in the urban areas. And to deal with these, we need a street fight. That's why the topic of the article is a street fight. Why street fight? Because at the street level, at the road level, we are seeing various problems. Okay, in terms of pollution, in terms of the low nutritional diet. Okay, so that needs to be ended up, and for that we need to be more prepared to deal with these challenges. So that is the end of the article. Hope you understood. Now we are shifting to the second article, and the second article will be related to GS paper 2, and it is also related to the role of women's and women's organization. Basically, I here also want to ask you a question. Tell me the women's labor force participation rate in India. Okay. So when we talk about women's labor force participation rate, first of all, you need to understand the labor force participation rate. Okay. If you are able to understand this concept, then definitely you will be understanding the problems faced by the women and because of that they are not able to join the workforce. And if women are not able to join the workforce, first of all, a gender inequality will be promoted. Second, the income inequality will be promoted. Third, it has a bigger impact on the economic growth and development of our nation. Okay. And the fourth, the women's independency in the decision making will be affected. These all are the problems. Okay, so that's why the major focus of this article is about telling the challenges women faces, especially the women who get married, because after marriage women's participation in the workforce also gets shrinked. Okay, because of increased responsibilities. Okay, so we will be trying to explore this article in a detailed way, and that will be very interesting to understand. Okay, so let's start. First of all, we need to understand the labor force participation rate. So what do you mean by this term? As the term and the name suggest, labor force participation. Okay, so first of all, you try to understand what do you mean by labor force here. So basically, labor force stands for the person, for the people who are 15 years or older. Okay, and when we talk about labor force participation rate, so basically it is the ratio of the labor force, okay, who are employed or who are unemployed but are willing to work. Okay, that means they are looking for a job, they are actively looking for a job. So indirectly we can say that in the labor force participation rate, both employed and unemployed are included, but in unemployed there is a condition that they should be willing to work. Okay, they should be actively looking for a job. Okay, so that will be the labor force participation rate. So when we here add female labor force participation rate, so basically you have to cross the people, you have to include female. Okay, and here female, here female. Okay, that will be the female labor force participation rate. And if you talk about male labor force participation rate, just cross here and include male. And if you talk about overall labor force participation rate, just leave it to the people. So that will be basically the idea of labor force participation rate. So basically, when we talk about the labor force participation rate, they represent the category of the people who are demanding jobs, who are basically asking for the jobs. And demanding for the jobs is a better thing. If the demand increase, that means the interest of the people to join in the workforce increase, and that will also aid in the economic growth and the development of the economy or the nations. Okay, but for the case of male in India it is high, but for the case of female it is very low. I will compare you with the data here. Okay, so that is the point, and hope you understood the basic idea of labor force participation rate. Now, if you understood, I want to ask you a question. Tell me about unemployment rate. Okay, what is the definition of unemployment rate? Who calculates unemployment rate? And here you have to also tell who calculates labor force participation rate. Okay, so try to decode these questions, okay, and try to write the answer in the comment box, okay, so that your peer group may also see the answers and they can also get informed. Okay, these initiatives you need to take care. Okay, this will enhance your recalling power, and recalling power is very very important for this examination or for any examination, but this requires high concentration, specifically for the UPSC examination that you are trying to attempt. Okay, so that is a very important thing. Keep note into your mind. Now, when we talk about the article discussion, so basically the article talks about that why women face inequality in the workforce, why there is lack of female labor force participation. So basically, this article is also interlinked with the idea that was given by the recent economist winner, okay, that basically talked about this issue, that is gender inequality in the workforce, causes of the gender inequality in the workforce. And that economist winner basically highlighted that the transition from agriculture to the manufacturing that led to the decline of the workforce, and that ultimately caused the low female workforce. Okay, that was one point, but we will be discussing in a detailed way. But let's understand some of the important context here. So basically, let's understand some data at the global level. Okay, there is 48% women's population. Okay, they are in the labor force. But when we talk about female labor force participation rate in India, it is only 24%. And in 1990s, it was 28%. So what I am trying to say, that despite India represents 48% of the women's population, about 65 crore, okay, but the women's participation in the workforce is only 24%, and even it declined since 1990, and now it is 24% against 28%, which was in 1990. Okay, so what caused the decline of the female labor force? Okay, despite the education of the woman is increasing, despite women's empowerment, okay, all of these are happening, so why there is a decline, and what is the significant impact of all these? So first of all, we will try to understand what is its significant impact if women's participation in the workforce is very less, okay, or non-participatory. So you can understand that women's independent decision making power gets affected, because they have to be dependent on a certain person, the male person, and any decision has to be taken by asking to the men, to the husband, to the parent. That is first important point. And the second important point, the economic prospects. Women are not independent in earning. That means they will not earn, they will dependent on the resources of the parents or the husband. That means the economic prospects, economic growth of the woman or the economy or the society will not be there. Okay, and ultimately what all these promotes, gender disparity. And what gender disparity promotes, persisting inequality. So from the ancient times to the present times to the future, if certain trend will continue, that means the persisting inequalities will also grow. So that was highlighted by the recent economist winner. They talked that in the last 200 years, the women's participation rate in the workforce was like U-shaped recovery. U-shaped recovery means, first of all, the women's participation in the workforce was declined. Okay, and then they started rising, but still the gender disparity is there. So why there was U-shape? It is all because the transition of the economy from agriculture sector to the manufacturing sector. So why this did happen? It is actually because in the agriculture sector, women were used to participate more, because these agricultural land was nearer, was close proximity to the residence, to the home, and also they were more engaged in these activity. Okay, but when the like sector of economy transited to the manufacturing, that means the place of work became different from the place of residence. So women face the mobility disorder. Okay, they were not able to go to the different place for the work because of the various barriers that we will be discussing. Okay, so that is the point, and that was highlighted in the like research paper done by the latest economist Nobel Prize winner. Hope you understood. Okay, and in India there was a similar scenario, like you are seeing 1990s. Okay, it was like 28%, and now it is 24%. That means we are transiting from the agriculture sector, and due to that, the women employment workforce was declined. So that is the point. And if you talk about other reasons why there is low labor force participation rate among the women, so first of all, I have told you, like the economist Goldin highlighted this issue, and we what is the issue we have already told you. Okay, and some of the important other issues you can understand that like among the women, married women have a tendency of decrease in labor force participation rate. Okay, and why decrease in labor force participation rate? Because increased workload, increased responsibility in the domestic sphere. Okay, they have to take care of the husband or the domestic house. Okay, or the childs. So these are the factors that may cause the woman to not go into the workforce after marriage. So that is one very very important point. And also there can be other factors like limited educational attainment, less mobility, societal disapproval associated with women's employment. You see, in India, if women try to get employment, the society didn't accept it. But if a man gets employed, the society accepts it. That represents the patriarchal mindset of our society. Okay. So the woman will work or not, that are based on societal approval or the disapproval. The biggest dilemma you can see. The woman cannot decide because the decisions are taken by the society, not by the woman. So how the woman can grow? Okay, that is the important and the biggest challenge. There are also domestic obligations, I have told you before. Okay, and there are other challenge. Okay, like social and cultural impediments, like in some religion the women's workforce in outside is not allowed, maybe there. Okay, and the caste affiliations. Okay, lower caste versus higher caste, you can basically link with the example that will be given to you in the next slide. Okay, so basically other factors like geographical locations, maybe the woman is in hilly areas. Okay, and in the hilly areas the lack of opportunity. Okay, and even they are not able to migrate. So that are the points. Okay, and the wealth of their household. Okay, and prevailing societal norms surrounding women's employment, we have discussed it. And there is a need of flexibility and proximity to their residence, like women, if the job is nearer to their residence, they will apply for the job, they will do the job. Okay, so that the flexibility is there after marriage. These all are the situations we are basically talking about the woman after marriage. Okay, these are challenges faced by the woman after marriage. Even pre-marriage women do also faces this type of challenge. And along with the gender asymmetrical professional cost, remember this keyword, gender asymmetrical professional cost. It means like there is a like distinction between male and female, and because of that distinction, income inequality for the same work is done. Okay, and not only that, lack of creche facility for the care of the child. So these are the costs arise due to the gender distinctiveness. So remember this keyword, and this adds extra cost for the woman to join in the workforce. Okay, so when we talk about observation for India's women's labor force participation rate, so there is an important analysis here, and you can understand that married woman, when a woman gets married, so a considerably lower employment proportion under the basically labor force participation data. It was highlighted in this data as well. And when we talk about the females participation after marriage, so basically it was observed that female belonging to the lower strata, they were more interested to work, okay, rather than the female which belong to the higher strata or the higher caste. Okay, so that is the important analysis you can see here. Okay, so how the cultural norms, the religious norms, okay, decides the women's participation, and you can see here. And between 2004 to 5 to 2022 to 23, the female labor force participation rate declined from 50% to 45% between this age group. That means this age group belong to the married woman. That means when a woman gets married, that means the chances for their development in the career gets blocked, gets reduced, okay, because of increase in domestic responsibility, okay, because of the lack of independent decision taken by the woman. So that are the issues, okay. And along with women lacking the literary skill demonstrated a greater inclination to participate in the labor force after getting married as opposed to their well educated counterparts. You will be confused little bit. How will it be possible? That's possible because women who are basically poorer, okay, who have lack of money, so they try to earn more. That's why they try to participate more in the economic workforce, okay. So that's why this substantiate our point. But when we talk about well educated counterparts, so basically they have all the resources, okay. So there is a like a societal barrier or the household barrier that prevent these women to participate. So that is a very important distinction and you can understand. Now what are the solutions to pursue? So basically you have to promote adequate daycare services. Adequate daycare services means like providing creche facility for the women, okay, sanitation facility in the workplace. All these are the daycare services because these also affect the participation of women in the workforce. And along with we have a initiative from the government side, that is national creche scheme for the children of working mothers, but it should be expanded to both the private sector as well, okay, so that more and more benefit to be delivered to women, okay. And along with we need reforms in our work culture because work culture do impact the participation of the like person, whether it is men, whether it is women. But in the case of women, the effect is very much high. That's why we need to prioritize our work culture that caters the need and well-being of the woman. And also there is a need to have a secure transportation options and the expansion of the part-time job so that women can do these type of jobs based on their flexibility, okay, based on their close proximity. And for the close proximity there is a need to have a better transportation, okay, easy mobility. So that will help to cater the demand for the women's workforce, whether they are married, whether they are unmarried, okay. So these will be serving as catalyst for the greater participation of the women. And that is the end of the article. Hope you understood in a great detail, okay. So now we are shifting to the another article that are basically for the prelims purpose, but it can be utilized for the mains purpose as well. So basically first article which is very much in news because of the NCRT constituted panel or the committee, they recommended that the name of the country should be changed from India to Bharat in the school textbook. So from these there was a starting of the debate and discussions, okay. Attacks and counter attacks among the words and the statements was going on, and you can see in the media as well, okay. Before that, this issue of India versus virus was also highlighted during the G20 presidency. Maybe you can recall it, okay. So basically here for the prelims purpose you need to understand that what was the committee who recommended, because UPSC can ask you, like recently C.I.ISAC committee was in news. They are related to what? Basically they are related to revise the social science curriculum, okay. So that is the point. And tell me, in the constitution what is the name mentioned, India or Bharat or both? And what is your opinion about this issue? Also try to tell me. Think just and ask and give some answers. Okay. So now the next article will be Israel Gaza must resume peace talks, that was said by India at the United Nations Security Council. So you are seeing that after the surprise attack of Hamas from Gaza, okay, the retaliation initiative from Israel was taken, and now they are entering to the Gaza and to end the terrorist organization, that is Hamas. The terrorist organization was declared by US and other Western countries. Okay, so basically they are entering into that. But remember, due to these issues, who are going to suffer the most? The civilians. And you are seeing the photos from here, there, and the various newspaper that they are facing the crisis, the hospital attack. Okay, so whether there should be the continuation of this, or there should be a current stop of these actions. Okay, so India basically at the United Nations Security Council meet that was organized recently, they talked about that there should be a need to have a peace talks, because only these peace talks will be able to solve the crisis. Otherwise, the crisis will be expanding and expanding. So try to remember these statements. Okay, and tell me the neighboring countries of the Israel. Okay, and what is the important port located in the Israel, which was recently in news? So these type of questions UPSC do ask, and when a region is in conflict, UPSC is favored to ask the question. Okay, like in 2023 paper, actually 4 to 5 questions regarding to the map related to the conflicting news was asked, and you can verify from the previous year paper. Okay, so now we are coming to the Vienna Convention, and Vienna Convention is in news because of the recent diplomatic tussle between like Indian Indian diplomats versus the Canadian diplomats, because recently both the countries tried to uh, recall their diplomats. Okay, so after that the news about Vienna Convention came. So try to understand the Vienna Convention. This can be a one-liner question for the prelims. Okay. So basically, Vienna Convention provides for a complete framework for the establishment, maintenance, and termination of the diplomatic relations between two nations. Okay. There will be a conditions when the diplomatic relation will be established or can be curtailed. Okay. And India is basically signatory of the Vienna Convention as well as Canada. So basically, India stressed that the actions taken by India basically abides by the Article 11.1 of the Vienna Convention, which talks about the diplomatic relation. And what this article tells you, this article tells you about the size of the embassy staff that will be basically demarcated in the other nations. Okay, like in case of India, what will be the size of Canadian diplomats here? So these all are the matters discussed in the Vienna Convention. Hope you understood. And now this is the last article that will be about the white phosphorus. And why the white phosphorus is in news? Because there is allegations that the Israeli armed forces are using white phosphorus for the attack in the Gaza. Okay, so from this the news of white phosphorus comes. Okay, so when we talk about white phosphorus, basically it is pyrophoric material. And what do you mean by pyrophoric material? These are the materials when come into the contact of oxygen or the air, they start igniting spontaneously or very quickly under 5 minutes. Okay, so not only this, when they ignite, their temperature can go up to 815 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's the amount of heat. That's why they can cause huge harm. Along with thick light smoke gets released from the white phosphorus. But despite all of these, when we talk about whether there is a blanket ban or not, so there is not a blanket ban of this chemical. Okay, so UPSC can ask whether it is banned or not. So these are not banned. And also one important point to note that the white phosphorus has application in different sectors as well. Tell me some of the applications of white phosphorus. Okay, so this will also help you in remembering more facts for the prelims. So that is the point, and that is the end of the article. And now we are coming to the prelims question that we have discussed. Okay, so the answer basically is option 2 is only correct, because the statement 1, which talks about that amount of water in the rivers and the lakes is more than the amount of groundwater, it is basically reverse of that. That means when you combine the percentage of rivers and the lake, okay, and the water of the groundwater, okay, so basically the water of the groundwater is high in percentage as compared to the combined form of rivers and lakes. You may be confused, but from the data that I will substantiate, it will clear your doubt. Okay, but when we talk about the highest share of fresh water that goes to polar ice cap and the glaciers, I have discussed articles about this topic as well. Okay, so you can see the data here, freshwater distribution. We have about 97% oceanic water, sea water, saline water. Okay, and the remaining 3% is in the form of majority of glaciers, permafrost, or the ice, about 69.56%. Okay, and then comes to the fresh subsurface water, that is your groundwater. So first share is your polar ice caps, glaciers. Okay, and the second share will be your fresh subsurface water, that is your groundwater. And then you can see that the portion of the fresh water in the rivers and the lakes, in the freshwater lake we have 0.25% only, and in the rivers we have only 0.006% only. So you can see the share of water in the river is also very much less, very less as compared to the freshwater lake. So remember this chronology, because this can be asked. Okay, and when we talk about the share in the atmosphere, it is only 0.04%, and when we talk about in the soil moisture, it is only 0.05%. So what is the chronology here? First, second, the third, that is your freshwater lake. The fourth is your soil moisture. Okay, then you have the atmosphere, then you have the swamps and masses, and then lastly you have the river. So you can see that how much less the share of river is there in the total freshwater distribution. So remember this pattern. This will help you in answering mains question as well, if there is a question on any water crisis or the freshwater crisis. So hope you understood all of these. Thank you friends, thank you very much. We will meet again with the next sort of discussion. Hope you enjoyed our lecture series, and thank you for the participation. Please try to comment. Okay, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much.